This is the very first iPad produced, and you can tell because it's so heavy. I think the second one came out just a few months later, and already they were making them much lighter. As everyone knows, these tablet devices have become the rage. They're so convenient, they're so easy. You can look at your email, you can go online. Here's my website, which I'd like you to visit if you haven't already, jim-fanning.com, and see all kinds of examples of things that I've written. But there's also all kinds of apps for drawing, coloring, painting, all kinds of creativity. So it might seem kind of funny to be talking about now something as low-tech as this Magic Slate paper saver. And I know you've seen this before in my video about Sleeping Beauty merchandise. These wonderful toys have been issued with licensed characters, including the Disney characters, since at least the 1950s. And I think everybody knows how these work. It comes with a stylus, and this is still attached. It can be hard to find them with the stylus still attached. So I have a spare one here. So if I just take it here, and we can write or draw something such as "Welcome to this video." Now the way this works is it has this piece of wax underneath and this opaque paper and this clear sheet that protects that. And then since we're writing or drawing on there, it makes the impression thanks to the wax. And then the paper is such that it just disappears. The instructions are simple. Draw, then lift film. It's as simple as that, and it does seem like magic. Now that's one reason I think these have been so popular. This is one of the simplest and most inexpensive toys ever devised. It goes anywhere, and the licensed characters are just the icing on the cake. But of course for us, that's what makes it most valuable and most interesting. I believe based on the price and the art and so forth, it was issued in the 1970s with the re-release of Sleeping Beauty in 1970. So we have beautiful art by Al Hubbard, I believe. Here we have Briar Rose, and here we have her animal friends on the border. So the artwork is always just great. You can even draw these characters, of course, which I think is one reason they are there. But the theming is what makes it really fun. So today, if you haven't guessed it, we're looking at Disney Magic Slate paper savers. And we have a special treat, a rare example of this toy that's a little bit different and comes from a different era. So stay tuned to the end of the video to see that. Now, another interesting thing to note, this is published by Western Publishing, the Disney licensee that did the little golden books and big golden books and coloring books and all kinds of activity books and fun things. But the logo is Watkins Strathmore, and that was a brand owned by Western Publishing that for a long time I thought was just a different brand. They also published coloring books, paper dolls, just like Western did. So I just thought they were a competitor, but actually it was owned by Western Publishing. Why Western Publishing continued to use the Watkins Strathmore logo, I don't know. They did eventually stop using it, but for decades it was used, and maybe it was some kind of legality. Maybe it helped them expand their marketing presence. I really don't know. But at any rate, they continued the use of the Watkins Strathmore logo and name. And they were bought by Western Publishing in 1957 or 1958. And they were also a Disney licensee. So it wasn't so much about gaining a license or products, but I think it was primarily to gain this product, the Magic Slate. It was a big, big seller and another product to expand their line of the way the Disney characters and other licensed characters could be used. So let's take a look at some more. Here I have The Rescuers, and this is from the original release in 1977. And I just quickly drew a Mickey here, just so we can see how it works. And I've drawn that with this stylus, and because the stylus is in here, I don't want to take it out. Again, it's pretty rare to find them unopened. And poor Mickey has disappeared, and we can start over. Again, this wonderful art on the top, the sides, art, I believe, by Al Hubbard, prolific artist for Western Publishing. And here we do not have the Strathmore Watkins logo. They're using the Whitman logo of the 1970s. That was primarily used by Western Publishing. And it says right here, Magic Slate is the registered trademark of Western Publishing Company Incorporated for its self-erasing paper saver product. Now, wouldn't anybody want to have that with the wonderful Disney characters? Here's more Al Hubbard art of The Jungle Book. This is from a re-release of The Jungle Book, but I think it may be art from the original release. Really beautiful art of Mowgli and Baloo, but also Bagheera, and also the little maiden here, and some beautiful jungle art, some animals. Really, again, a very, very evocative of the film and fun. And here's an example of what you often do see. The stylus is gone. It was, of course, encased in this little piece of plastic here. Could be, as it says, snip and store. So you can just snip it with a scissor, put the stylus back, but as so often happened, those things just disappeared. But of course, I want it just for the wonderful art. And of course, you can always use another stylus. Here's another one that I have, Winnie the Pooh. Not exactly sure what year this is from. It's very fun because it incorporates story elements from all three of the original Winnie the Pooh featurettes. Here we have on the side Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day. Here we have Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2. And then on the top, of course, we have Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree, with one of the most famous of all Disney images, Winnie the Pooh holding the balloon. In this case, 3 balloons. So I think they wanted to simply call it Winnie the Pooh and be reflective of many adventures, and therefore reflective of the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, the feature-length compilation of all 3 featurettes that was released in 1977. But this is definitely after 1977, so I think it was just some of their great Winnie the Pooh merchandise that was always just sort of always available and was just branded to Winnie the Pooh. I think Western Publishing shied away from connecting it to any one Winnie the Pooh production in terms of the title. Now, this Winnie the Pooh Magic Slate reminds me that in the 1960s, during the Cold War, the U.S. Embassy in Moscow suspected that their office had been bugged. So they got magic slates to communicate with each other so they didn't have to say anything out loud. They would write it on a magic slate, show it to their colleague, and then also to protect its secrecy, they made it disappear. And then again, the same situation happened in 1987, to be very specific. 2 members of Congress were visiting the embassy, and they used magic slates to, again, communicate with each other. And one of them had the Rainbow Bright magic slate, and the other one had Winnie the Pooh. Now, whether it was this design or another design, because there have been several, at least, Winnie the Pooh magic slates over the years, but it was definitely a Winnie the Pooh magic slate, so it came in handy. Over the years, so many different editions of magic slates have been produced using licensed characters, everything from the Disney characters, of course, to Hanna-Barbera, to movies, everything from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang to Jurassic Park, to television shows like The Munsters, Star Trek, and let's not leave out Urkel. Now here is one from the 90s, because this is a tie-in with Hercules. Hercules was released in 1997. And again, the stylus is missing, very typical. But in this era, it was a little disappointing. This is just a piece of art from the style guide, the logo, of course, all that's fine. But the design elements, although great and reflective of the film, I think I miss some of the additional art that was always here in the margins. Now, I promised you I was going to show you a very rare magic slate from an earlier era, and I think you'll find this fascinating. Here is Spin and Marty. Yes, that's right. There were 4 magic slates tied in with the Mickey Mouse Club, and Lucky for us, Spin and Marty was one of them. It says the Triple R Magic Slate activities. We can see that on the back. We have Jiminy Cricket, Jimmy Dodd, Drawing Fun with Mickey Mouse, and of course this one, good old Spin and Marty. And since this is the Mickey Mouse Club, that means that it probably came out in 55 or 56. Probably no later than that. And of course that was before Western Publishing bought Watkins Strathmore. But here we have the Strathmore Company logo. And what was really fascinating about this whole line is that it incorporated an activity book. We have the Magic Slate right here, complete with the stylus. So that's pretty nifty. And then it can be used the same way as any other Magic Slate. If we want to make the Triple R logo, we can do so. Or draw anything we want, or write anything. But this activity book incorporates the Magic Slate into these activities. So first of all, we have this great story about Spin and Marty. And over here, we have some activities. So what you do is follow Jiminy Cricket's instructions over here. Swing, as it says, Magic Slate out. Place the entire slate over the page. Let's choose one here. And then take that particular page out and put it under the clear page. And then we can trace, we follow directions. Trace the picture on page 9, and on page 5, trace the 2 sitting boys. Now trace all the boys on page 11 and complete your picture by tracing the boy in the foreground on page 13. So this provides hours of fun because that's pretty complicated. And they also have, in addition to the Disney activity books, they also have some generic ones like about the circus, the ABCs, outer space, and we also have this wonderful Christmas story one. So this is something that you just do not see every day. I just could not wait to show this to you. And of course, we all love Spin and Marty. And if you did enjoy it, make sure that you press the like button and definitely subscribe, because there's all kinds of new and fascinating things to look at, as well as shorts, bonus episodes, VIP visits, Jim and Dean, and more to come. But in the meantime, I'd like to leave you with this piece of advice. Don't be a square from Squaresville.